And our very first speaker for today is Mushfiqoh Samodien. She describes herself as a speaker, out-the-box strategic thinker, mother, fitness fanatic, and igniter. And Mushfiqoh is a business director and shareholder at Aspire Solutions. And Aspire Solutions is a specialist information technology company that helps organizations take high impact steps towards solving business problems. They integrate a start now philosophy and just in time design principles with agile development processes. Mushfiqoh's energy proves vital to the well-being of the company, and she works closely with a business partner, Mike Stein, and they share a passion for South African business as they strive to inspire, to educate, and to empower. So, Mushfiqoh, we're so excited to hear how we can capitalize, maximize tech for business growth. So, without further ado, Mushfiqoh Samodien, everybody.
Good morning, everybody, and I am truly honored to be a part of such an amazing venture. We started off, and the two keywords that you heard was vision and sustainability. Sam gave you a bit of a mouthful around what Aspire does, so I'm going to simplify it based on the tech specifications. And if you are on this call and you are looking for me to assist you with your laptop or your specifications, then this is the wrong thing. This is about capitalizing and taking technology as the forefront that we currently find ourselves in within the fourth industrial revolution, using technology as an enabler. So thank you, Sam, for the introduction. And what I'd actually like to do is just share my screen. There we go. If you can confirm, Sam, that my screen is shared.
Yes, we can see it.
Just want to make sure it's on the full. There we go, still up.
Yes.
Okay. So for today, the purpose of me being involved in the Grow Your Business Masterclass is not necessarily to market Aspire's business, but to give you some insight into my journey on becoming the business director at Aspire Solutions and how I found that technology is all around us. And I can comfortably say that it has now become an enabler. Why are you here today? You are possibly here today as an entrepreneur where you have a business idea or you've had one in the past. You're currently looking at wanting to spend more time with your family. You are asking yourself where you're starting. With the current pandemic that we are facing, there's more likely the possibility that you're looking for a gap in the market to sustain your lifestyle and to ensure that there is income. You could be in the position where you've had this thought 5 years ago and it wasn't something that you could materialize based on the fact that the comfort that is held in a corporate provides for a smooth journey. So you are here today to listen to the lessons and experience on how myself as an entrepreneur combined with tech and my fellow panelists will provide you with the toolkits to ensure that there's a foundation to either reassess where your business currently is or fundamentally get started. So what's my journey been from a tech perspective? I had an idea where, I was, and I'm going to be truly honest because this is what I try and do, stay authentic. I had an idea when I reached a milestone in my life at the age of 30. And I was working for a global company. I was working 18 hours a day, putting in blood, sweat, and tears because I valued the outcome on my productivity. I knew I had a skill set. I had a set of goals and also the need to expand my horizon. So As a starting point, all I knew was I had a skill set. I had a goal on wanting to start a business, and I had the experience. Sorry about that, guys. And I had the experience to solidify a product. Then I'd ask myself, am I a product or am I a service? So my idea was starting to mobilize, and I needed to make sure that I could implement this. On doing that, I would leave my job, of which I was working for the company for 9 years, and I've got this amazing idea and I want to break out of my skin, and I'm finding myself at a milestone and a crossroads, but how do I make it sustainable? How do I create the same type of comfort that is provided when you are in a corporate environment? Simple. Take the first step. Make sure that you are plotting your idea, and it can be anything at that point in time. Implementation comes post factor. Sustainability will align once my fellow panelists give you some more insight into the marketing factor and financial spheres. I'm now at a point, 8 years later, where I'm needing to remain relevant, which aligns to the sustainability. I also have a service which was born out of my idea, and I'm needing to maintain what was implemented. The generic journey of what I've just spoken about, breaking it up into simple terms, is the what, the who, and the how, and more so, the why. And you're probably thinking, okay, so Mushfiqoh is supposed to be speaking about tech. When is tech coming? Hang on. Your what, being your product or service, your who and how becomes activation and capital. Capital on either wanting to start or activate, or revenue and retention. You've got a workbook, and I'd like you to actually have a look at it as I go through my presentation, because there will be elements that align, that becomes a foundation for an outcome on this session. Ask yourself the why. I have a product, I have a service. What makes me different? So on the what, and as you can see, the laptops are starting to come out in the presentation, so we're getting a bit more techy here. From a product perspective, are you able to? Is the product marketable? If it's something that is manufactured, are you doing this yourself, or are you outsourcing it? I was looking at the idea of, do I split product and service? I realized it's impossible, because as myself, I offer a service of products. So what I'd need to assess is, who are my competitors? What industry am I in? How do I market my service? And is there a cost? So whether it be a product or a service, how do you mobilize this? My first answer to you would be technology, social media. It all exists. We have found ourselves not just within the fourth industrial revolution, but in very uncertain times. And based on that, you are in a position to capitalize on the opportunity to ignite, as Sam said, one of my keywords, your ideas, and enable it. So start. Make a start by checking out social media, doing some research on your product or service, which is available, and more so, educate yourself to ensure that with any idea that you have, there is a sustainable outcome. What I'm preferring to do today is to not be too theoretical about technology itself, but how this aligns. The how. How and the who. Who is most important? Because without your who and without your consumer, that being within a business sense of me looking for my clients, or a consumer who is having something, that has selling food, or you baking or launching any product that a consumer needs, they are important. Do your research And this is available from the comfort of your home. If I am to give you any example of how we are enabling technology, this webinar today proves that we are able to interact, we are able to empower, and we are able to utilize the tools that we have available to ignite, to start, to enable. The how, on looking at key factors, on your time, because a lot of the time as an entrepreneur, and I'm sure you can all contest to this, is the fact that your revenue can also be your blood, sweat, and tears that you put into actually mobilizing your idea. But what is key, and where you will see that the information that you'll be receiving further on the agenda would allow you to not just facilitate the technological part of business, but also enable the fact that you'd be able to see the growth within revenue, look at factors within your market growth, market penetration, and it sounds like big words, but it's how do I utilize my money? How do I utilize and enable technology to get my product out there? What is niche? What is needed? Why am I different? There are many factors that can come into play here. To simplify it, again, being relevant to our current position, there's an element and an impact globally on the environment, on society, and there's an economic impact. So how can you ensure that as an entrepreneur, there is sustainability within your business? The key to that is there is no disconnect to your individual financial planning and your business planning, because they go hand in hand. Where you find yourself individually within your financial space would determine what your output can be and how you enable yourself. Let's get to the fun parts. So how has technology been enabled in this current time? Checkers was out there. It was Checkers, it was Checkers ShopRite. There were the brands that they had. You had your little sticker books. I remember this because my grandmother had one. What do we see now? We see them being relevant and maintaining a brand, but also adapting to the opportunity. To launch something on an app that within 60 minutes, you are able to have products, define the differentiators of what you're wanting. So they've got this cool factor of if they are out of stock, they'll ask you if they can replace your products. Pick n Pay has the same thing. But it was the evolution of Checkers could have done this 10 years ago. It possibly was part of their 5-year plan. The position that you find yourself in now, your short-term goals are what's relevant. Your short-term goals, how you are planning for your short-term goals, and they can be 3 to 6 months. You can do trial and error. Uber. How dependent are we on Uber? What has it become? Besides the fact that Uber was a service, the emotional need of over a weekend, if you were tired and you wanted to take an Uber, you can. They looked at elements of safety. So to ensure that they align to government elements of drunk driving and everything else, there's an element of safety. So they connected with emotion, but via technology. We all shop online. This has had to happen since March, whether we like it or not. Your basket is no longer your trolley that you need to sanitize and actually do calculation. Your calculation is there. So why are you not creating your own basket of well-being, your financial status, and activation of your product? If you are utilizing your workbook right now and asking yourself around things of your purpose, looking at things on what your product has, research and educating yourself is what's key. I've put in the little banner at the bottom where, from a Google perspective, you are able to put in a keyword as we know and find what you're looking for. but you're also able to do, and I always go to the need of shopping, because from a food perspective, that was a fundamental need in the beginning of when lockdown started, where everything was closed for 21 days and things needed to mobilize. If you look at how every single company, large or small, needed to transition to a technological platform, you do it every day, guys and girls, females. I'm not going to discriminate in any way. The reality is your mobile phone, whether it be something that you share on your WhatsApp status or you send it out to family, becomes enablement. We are currently on a Zoom call. Again, we are enabling and empowering you at the same time. Gumtree was there before. They offered services and people would, there were lots of things. If you do some research on Gumtree, within their first year, there was a lot of pushback based on the fact that it was an opportunity for fraud. So how much research was done when Gumtree started? But they saw it as a platform to start. If you look at things now, there are security measures. Those are elements of growth. So a lot of the questions that come through where technology is concerned, being a small business as well, key questions that have come through in relation to securing investment. Ask yourself the question, how are you investing in your own business? So if you assess your individual financial status, and this being with blood, sweat and tears, with saving that's going to come on a bit later on, with a family member or a partner, that becomes your own investment. You can start at the beginning with nothing. Bake your first cake, sell it per slice. If that is your approach on starting your business, you will find that your transition will be a lot easier. It all starts with the keyword, vision, as it was mentioned before. Take that vision and plan it correctly. Another thing that I was asked is, how do we secure big clients? And this is vital for me. This is kind of what Aspire, it's one of our value items. It is with partnerships. So do not think of yourself as small. Your experience and what you have to gain is something that nobody can question. So my journey as a one-man show 8 years ago, I marketed myself to one of the senior or leading, I'd say, industry leaders within technology. You can drive in Century City and you'll see Datacentrics, and I can mention them because they are part of my journey. I saw Datacentrics and I thought to myself, you know what? I know that I can offer a service. My service, if I were to categorize it, would be as a business analyst, as a project manager. But going onto Google and saying jobs for business analysts, jobs for project management, you get them in the hundreds. What made me different? And I needed to figure that out for myself. It was my authenticity that even today, we've got structure coming with my fellow panelists on the key factors that solidify and that allow for sustainable business, and that being your financial planning and your market growth and sustainability. However, sharing my journey should ignite thoughts. It is the thoughts on how you become sustainable. So me going back to Datacentrics and saying, listen, I have started my company. I made sure that it looked all professional. I had my website up, but I was a one-man show. Nobody needed to know that. I needed the confidence of my experience to come through and say, you know what, I have a service to offer. Let's try it out and let's see. That leads to partnerships. It was my first building block. So I firmly believe, and there are many agencies that I work with now, like Sam, like Matsi, like I've got other partners, digital partners as well. I firmly believe that partnerships create sustainability. Shared vision creates sustainability. So how do you land big clients? Go in as if you are a force to be reckoned with. Look at what companies are looking for. Break down tenders that might seem overwhelming to you and ask yourself, what can I control? What can I facilitate? What in that tender is something that I am able to manage? The rest of it, partner up with smaller businesses. In that way, you are sharing experience. You are also ensuring that from a client's perspective, once they get to know you, they will see that, you know what, Aspire Solutions actually brought on 2, 3, 4 other companies, and it was assisting economic growth and empowering people. So it's a question that I'm asked often, because going to Aspire's site, you'll see that we work with Western Cape Government, we work with the City of Cape Town, and I'm proud to say that we do not do it alone. We do it as partners, and we focus on the niche, on being specialized in custom development that allows us to deliver to clients. So what's become key is the fact that if you have an idea, you've got a workbook, implement your idea, and the rest of this webinar will ensure that you have sustainable growth. Thank you.
And then the next question I'd like to ask is from Mzwandile Jaguja, and that's to you, Mushfiqoh. Can you please share some of the challenges and difficulties you had to persevere through in your business when you eventually took the step to break out and start your business?
Okay, thank you. A very relevant question. So the one thing that you're faced with that really gets you down is the fear. You step into something new, and the one thing that is certain is where and how do you keep yourself going. So fundamentally, a plant needs water. Love needs reassurance. In the same light, one of the building blocks for myself that I identified that helped me persevere links to relationships. So I looked at my past lecturers, people within industry in various positions to assist me with the reassurance that I was building my capability in the correct manner. So aligning myself with people of industry and people with experience became my tool to empower, and it maintained my perseverance, because like I said, and I've mentioned it before, Sibusiso also mentioned that blood, sweat and tears is real. When you take that first step and, you know, things become, it's the realization that I need to make this work. Do that by aligning yourself to people that can support you, which will then encourage you to persevere.
This next question is for any one of our panelists to answer. Not all businesses or business owners see collaboration as a way to form partnerships and growth for their businesses. How does one deal with that? Or what steps does one take? Do you move on, or do you try and convince them to partner with you? Any takers on that one? Mushfiqoh, would you like to answer that?
I mean, like I said, one of the key things that I said on building your business and collaborating is by means of partnership. So again, we need to focus on our business from an emotional side as well. And the one way to do that is with trust. So you can only, I mean, I'm a firm believer of creating and collaborating, but you can only do that with an element of trust. For you to be able to, what you'd want, the comfort that you'd want from the partnership that you're trying to create is what you'd need to put forward when you are needing something from the next person. So a lot of the time you see opportunity and you try it with the smallest piece. The best thing in life that you can do is to try it and see how it works out. And if it doesn't, you know that it's something that you put behind you as a lesson. So my advice would be, the question is leaving it or not leaving, or how do you pursue it? You follow your gut and you need to understand, you need to look at the value of the collaboration between you and the partner. And if it is something that the person does not want to do, don't push it, because there are many other people in industry that you can then collaborate with that would be more viable. A lot of what you'll see in closing on that question is you can only collaborate with people within industry as an SME if they share the same vision. So if they don't, you'll pick that up immediately. Hope that answers the question.
I think this was sort of answered already, but I think anyone can expand on this and why would this be a safer option to sign something, an agreement of some sort?
So a lot of the time, verbal helps as your initial collaborating factor, but when there are outputs and when there's a client involved, it is a lot safer to ensure that there's an agreement that is signed. So depending on industry and what is required, it's basically a memorandum of understanding where you know which parties are fulfilling what elements.